let us go to the standard e-invoice. Okay, so after you upgrade to the latest version, AutoCount have updated the new system logic. Okay, like previously, when you save the document like invoice, credit note, all that, you save and then save and preview, right? But now it have a approve, save as draft or approve. Okay, so this is a new system logic lah. Okay, so for this new system logic, by default, it is enable for credit note, debit note, invoice, and self-bill, because all these 4 documents is involved in the e-invoice submission. Okay, but for others, if you want to apply it, you can tick lah. But if you don't want to use the new system logic, you want to use the old one, you can untick. Okay, and then once updated to this version, system will set an approved document will be automatically marked as expired after 10 days. Okay, so here you can change lah. Either you want it to expire after 30 days. Okay, let's say if you save as draft and no action is taken for this invoice, after 10 days or after 30 days that you set here, it will auto expire. Expired means voided lah. Okay, you cannot edit or submit again that invoice. You need to create a new invoice. Okay. Okay, so actually it is the same notes, only the activities that is I added lah. Okay, just the activities is not in the note. Okay, because the activities I add for different training lah. Okay, but the basic theory is still the same, no update. Okay, so basically for this document status flow, first if you save as draft or you submit for approval, okay, and then it will this one will not submit to LHTN, will not submit to RMBM. Only approve will submit to RMBM. Okay. Why AutoCount create this new system logic for this document status flow? Because once approved, you cannot edit anymore, right? So it create kind of a filter process so that one of your staff can save as draft or submit for approval first, and then another staff can double check it and then approve it and submit to IRBM. Okay. So like I said just now, if you put save as draft or submit for approval, it will auto go to expired. Okay, after that days that you have set lah. Okay, if no action taken. Okay, but once approved, it will auto submit to RBM, and if you void the approved document, it will consider as cancelled. Cancel the document lah, and also in RBM also will be cancelled. Okay, for this cancel, only can cancel within 72 hours. Okay, after 72 hours, you need to do CN. Okay. So this one, we can suggest you create 2 types of user lah, either for requester and approver. So a requester, they only can save as draft or submit for approval. But as an approver, they can approve and reject. Okay, or draft and then approve. So this is the filter column lah for the new version. Okay, all draft rejected, awaiting approval, approved, void, and expired. Okay, so in the document also you can see either in which status. Okay, and then you also can check the status log for each document, who submit and who approved the document. Okay, and then if in one day there are many invoices that have submitted for approval, okay, the approver can approve all the document in one shot. Okay, so it can go to this draft or rejected column, check all, and then approve. So it will approve all the document lah after they check. Okay, so let me show you. This is how you want to set your client for local business. Okay, make sure for local business, the TIN number, no spacing between the numbers and characters. Okay, and then the BRN, make sure only use the new BRN, new SSN number. Okay, and then the MSIC code, if they don't give you the MSIC code, you can put 5-digit 0. Okay, and then the phone number, make sure no spacing, no dash, and then need to add +6. Okay, and then email address, only one email address. Okay, and then address, only put the first 2 lines. And then the last line for the postcode, city, state, and country, you put in their column. Okay. Okay, so this is the sample of the e-invoice lah. Okay. So for individual, local and foreign individual, this one I will show you in the consolidated part later on. Okay. So just now got someone asked for the foreign buyer. For foreign buyer, you need to change to foreign business. Okay, select foreign business, and then you can see the red star is different. Okay, you don't need to update the TIN and BRN. Okay, because for foreign business, they don't have the TIN and BRN. Okay, you just put the MSIC code to 5-digit 0, and then name of the company. The phone number is compulsory, no spacing allowed. Okay, and no dash. I need to add the plus the country code lah. Okay, at the front. And then the email address, postcode, city, state, and country. Okay, so when you leave it blank, for this foreign business, system will auto put it as EI9020 for foreign buyer. This is the general TIN provided by LHDN. If it is a supplier, it will put as EI9030. Okay. If they didn't give you MSIC code, you just put 5-digit 0. Okay. Okay. So for government, okay, if your customer also is a government, so you just leave it blank because government also don't have this TIN and BRN. When you leave it blank, system will auto put EI9040 for this government. Okay, this is the general TIN for government lah. Okay, and then MSIC code also 5-digit 0. Okay, phone number also need to add +6. This one is typo. +6, no space and no dash. Email address just one. Address the first 2 line, and then postcode, city, state, and country. Okay, so let me show you in AutoCount. So let's say you want to add another user, general maintenance, user maintenance. So let's say this is my staff lah. Okay, this staff is not allowed to approve. Okay, only admin allowed to approve. So you as a manager, you can set lah how you want to set for the approval flow for your company. Okay, so let's say the staff cannot approve. So you need to set at the access right. Okay, you go to general maintenance, access right maintenance. Okay, so here, you search for approve invoice. Okay, take this one, approve invoice. So here, you can put only admin that allowed to approve. Okay, so admins, this one is group lah. But if you want to only one user that can approve, you can tick only this user, like this. Okay, but if only admins group can approve, you can put like this lah. Okay, so let's say I log in as Kamil. Okay, on Kamil's side, when he want to create invoice, okay, so you can see here, Kamil only can save as draft and preview, save as draft and print, or submit for approval. He cannot approve the document. So let's say I choose standard e-invoice. Okay, and then I submit for approval. Okay, so now the status is awaiting approval. Okay, but if I look up, I log in as admin. This one is admin lah. Okay, so I can see this awaiting approval. If I edit this document, okay, you can see I can save, approve and preview, or approve and print. Okay, so if I approve the document, pending. Okay, refresh, submitted. Submitted means already submit to the LHDN lah. Okay, now it's valid. Okay, if I view back the document, you can see here the status up here changed to approved. E-invoice status is valid. Okay, so for this customer, okay, if you preview, here have a new format lah, invoice Malaysia invoice. This format, these two format that is written here Malaysia invoice have the QR code once validated. But if you want to add the QR code at your existing format, you can get assist from our team to copy the QR code to your existing format lah. Okay, so let's say I preview this. Okay, later on I show you how to void the document. Okay. Okay, so you can see, once validated, you will have the QR code. Okay, so this QR code is linked to the MyInvoice portal, show valid. Okay, so just now, remember that I got set auto email validated kan? Okay, this one, auto email validated. Okay, so make sure this customer got set up their email. Okay, let's say this customer is standard e-invoice. You can see here, I already updated the email. Okay, once updated the email and it is already valid, you can see in my email. I got the email from this company. Dear standard e-invoice, attached together is a validated e-invoice I000102 11th June 2025. Okay, so your customer will receive the validated e-invoice. Okay, once valid. Can the Camille site print the e-invoice? Yes, sure can. Because, okay, this Camille, okay, this one is Camille. Refresh, now already valid kan? So he also can preview and print. Okay, if he doesn't have the access, you can check the access right, okay, for the print and preview. Okay, open the access for him lah. Okay, he also can print and preview. But if you already send the invoice by email, you don't need to print and preview again lah. Okay. So, let's say you also have a few documents that is saved as draft. Okay. 5 June, standard invoice. Okay, save as draft. Then another one. This one is backdated. As you can see, I put the date is 5 June. And then another one, I put 10 June, yesterday. Okay. Okay, and then this one is also saved as draft. Okay, so this one is admin side. So you can see at the draft and rejected have two documents. Okay, two documents here, and then it is a backdated invoice. Yeah, so this one is 5 June, and another one is 10 June. Okay, so you can see all is backdated. You check all, and then you want, why submit for approval? Sorry, I open as admin. I go to draft and reject it. Okay, so now you have a approve button. Okay, so here have a two draft document. You check all, and then after you have checked, you can do approve. Okay, so here you can see there is a new column. Use today's date as submission date when document date is not a valid submission date. So this is for the document is already backdated more than 3 days. So make sure this one is tick lah. So when you tick, can see pending fresh. Okay, you can see this document, these two documents, the date is 5 June. Okay, but the submission is issued on 11 June 2025. Okay, so means if your document is a backdated date more than 3 days, you still can submit to e-invoice. Okay, so system will use today's date for submission, but the document date is still use the document date 5 June. Okay, so if you are version lower, you need to do it manually. Okay, so how to do it manually? So let's say your document here is standard invoice. Okay, so let's say this document is backdated on 5 June also. Okay, so you need to go here, edit, and then you need to click this one, e-invoice issue that time. So here you need to put today's date. So this is the lower version. You need to do it manually. Okay, but I advise you to update to the latest version so that you don't need to do it manually. System will auto submit today's date for you. Okay. Okay, and then you click approve. So this is how you want to do it for the lower version lah. Okay. This one take time. Okay, just now, okay, how to void it? Okay, how to void it? Okay, remember that for void, you only can void within the 72 hours. Okay, more than 72 hours, you cannot void, you only can do CN. Okay, so let's say this document, I want to void, so you need to view, and then you click this one, void. Okay, I repeat again. This document, view, and then void. Do you really want to cancel invoice? This one? Yes. So you need to put the reason lah. Maybe my reason is duplicate. Now it's already cancelled. Okay, already voided lah. Yeah. Okay, so backdated invoice for 20 May. Yes, you still can submit lah for the invoice. But if the invoice is under consolidated, you need to submit within that month. Okay. But for the standard invoice, there is no because Alexin didn't explain in details that what the reason behind that need to submit within the 72 hours. Okay, within the 3 days, which means can only backdated only 3 days. Okay, so most of the systems right now, all the system can backdated more than 3 days. Other system also can backdated more than 3 days, but only for cancel, only can cancel it within 3 days. For submission, can backdated more than 3 days. Okay. This voided, okay, means if you already voided, this one, just now, which one is already voided? Okay, this one already voided kan? So this voided also have submit to LHDN. So let's say this one is I0001101 kan? So you can see in the MyInvoice portal, you can see it's already cancelled in the MyInvoice portal. Cancellation reason, duplicate. Okay, when you void it in the system, it will auto submit to LHDN also. Okay, so okay, let's say you want to edit the document. Okay, so let's say this invoice already validated. Okay, once validated, should be you cannot edit anymore. But there are certain fields that you can edit, which means this field is not related to the e-invoice submission, such as the further description. So let's say when you want to submit to your client, you want to add the further description, you still can add. This one still can edit. Okay. Because this one is not linked to the LHDN, but for the amount, price, quantity, customer information, this one all cannot change. Okay, but other field, okay, like sales agent, you still can edit. Okay. Okay, so done voided. Okay, so let's say you have exceeded more than 3 days. Okay, you cannot cancel anymore. Okay, you need to CN. How to do CN? Okay, so this one, let's say this invoice, I want to do CN, so you can right click, okay, and then you can do partial or full transfer to new credit note. Okay, so if you want to cancel all, you just put the full amount lah. But if you want to give discount, let's say you want to give discount, okay, half, and then you click approve. Reason, discount means reduce the invoice amount lah. Okay, so once you submit for the CN, okay, can see here is already valid lah. Okay, so CN also it will auto send to the email of your customer. Okay. Okay. So okay. So just now I got show you that the approval workflow kan. Okay. So let's say most of your document if you save as draft or awaiting approval. Okay. Means after few days you will maybe after 10 days or after 30 days you will realize that why all my document is in the expired column. Okay. So where to check this maintenance? You go to tools. Okay. you go to option, and then here have a new function, approval workflow. Okay, so approval workflow, you can see as default, all this document is tick. Okay, others is not tick. But if you want to apply to other function, you can tick all lah. Okay, so if you untick, if you want for certain function, you can tick lah. Okay, so below here, I got set for my business. I want the document to be expired after 30 days. So you can set here lah. Okay, so make sure within the 30 days, you need to take action on that document. Okay, invoice submitted and more than 3 days need to be cancelled, discount, then issue CN. Standard invoice to submit to invoice can backdate. Okay, so invoice submitted and more than 3 days. You mean that, okay, voila. Do you mean this invoice? This invoice 5 June. This one I submit today. Okay, so you mean you want to void this document? Okay, so for this document, means you want to void it, the backdated invoice. Is it? Okay, if you want to cancel, you still can cancel because the submission date is today. So you can cancel it within these 3 days lah. Okay, but if you want to direct CN also can. Okay, so if you want to CN, make sure you select and then you right click and copy to new CN. Or you want to direct go to CN here also can. But make sure you do transfer from invoice. Okay. And then you select which CN that you want to, which invoice that you want to CN. Okay. If you want to CN few invoices, you can put here lah. Okay. But the invoice number also you need to put to another invoice number. Okay. So, okay. Yes. You can submit the invoice that more than 3 days. Okay. So this function, use today's date as submission date when document date is not a valid submission date. Okay, means even though the document is already backdated more than 3 days, it is 1st June or 2nd June, you still can submit today. Okay, you just put the document date as the exact date and then you just submit. System will auto submit using today's date. Okay. Okay, I show again how to do the backdated invoice. Okay. So let's say this invoice I have from this customer. This invoice is dated on 6th June. Okay, more than 3 days. Now it's 11th June. Okay. So this one is backdated and then I directly approve. Now approve pending. Refresh. Now it's checking lah. Okay. So but I show you, let's say you didn't tick this one. Meanwhile, I show you. I didn't tick use today's date as submission date. Okay. So when you create the invoice for the backdated, system will not auto fill up the date for you lah. Okay, we have detected your document date is not a valid e-invoice submission date. Do you want the system to assign today's date as your e-invoice submission date? Yes lah. Okay, but if you want to, after this, it will auto submit for today's date. You just click this one. Okay. You can see just now it's already valid lah. Okay. Invoice dated 1st June, then submit on 6th June. Then realize today got issue, need to cancel. So issue CN. Just now I show you still can void. Okay. Just now I show you this 5th June. Just now I submit. Okay. I still can void it. Okay. If cannot void, system will prompt you. You cannot void this document. So if you cannot void, normally it will prompt after 3 days lah, after you submit. Okay. And then you need to do CN. Okay. So if last month invoice still can submit using today's date. Okay. So for standard e-invoice, there is no deadline lah, okay? But for the consolidated, if it have a deadline that need to submit within that month, okay? But let's say that document, the customer didn't give you the TIN, okay? But you still need to prove your income lah. So you just direct submit that document in the consolidate lah, okay? But if it's a standard e-invoice, you still can submit, okay? Okay, so just now I got show you the foreign buyer and also the government, right? Okay, so let's say I want to submit e-invoice for the foreign buyer and government. So this is my foreign buyer. Okay, so make sure you put the business and then TIN and BRN, you just leave it blank lah. Okay, and then MSIC code, just put 5-digit 0, registered name, and then phone number, address, postcode, city, state, and country. Okay, and then for government, okay, for government, okay, you don't need to fill up the TIN and BRN. Okay, MSIC code is 5-digit 0, and then business activity description, registered name, phone, address, email address, postcode, city, state, and country. Okay, so if you have this customer, make sure for foreign buyer and government, you need to submit standard e-invoice. Okay, you cannot do consolidate. Okay, so this one, let's say you sell item for foreign buyer. Okay, foreign buyer. So we'll show the tin lah. Okay, another one is for government. Okay, let me check first. Okay, so just now got show you the foreign buyer and government. Okay, another scenario, if let's say you also have, you are in this specific industry that mandate to issue e-invoice. Okay, so means this kind of industry, they are not allowed to consolidate, like automotive, luxury goods, construction materials, payment to agent, dealer or distributor, aviation, constructions, betting and gaming. Okay, so how you want to set in the auto count, make sure you didn't tick the allow to create consolidated e-invoice, because you cannot do consolidate. All the invoice you need to submit standard e-invoice. Okay, means you need to get the tax entity from your client lah. Okay, then for all item, make sure you need to add the tax entity lah. Let's say this one don't have the tax entity, system will prompt you. Okay, the same invoice can be submitted either under consolidated or yes, either one. Do not submit both. Okay, just either one. You just submit once lah for each invoice. Okay, because this one is to prove your income. If you submit both, it will prove double lah in your income. Okay, so in the construction materials, so if you are a hardware that's selling items, the normal items, and also you also got sell the construction materials, okay, that fall under this fourth schedule of Lembaga Pembangunan Industri Pembinaan Malaysia Act 1994. Okay, so for this item like wire glass, safety glass, coated glass, okay, insulation materials, cement, okay, this item is not allowed to consolidate. Okay, so you need at the item there, you need to must generate e-invoice. Okay. So every time if you issue invoice, okay, for this customer, let's say it is a cash customer, system will prompt you, you need to get the customer TIN lah, okay, for this item. Okay, so in the auto count, just now if you are in that industry lah, under the automotive, all that, so make sure in the e-invoice setting here, you didn't tick this one. Okay, you are not allowed to create consolidated e-invoice lah, you need to untick. Okay, and then if you have a mixed item, let's say I have cement, okay, I am a hardware business, okay, one of the item is cement fall under fourth schedule, so this one, I need to tick this one, must generate e-invoice, okay, So if customer buy other item, you can put cash customer, but if they buy this item, I need to get their tax entity. Okay, so let's say I issue invoice. Maybe this one is cash customer. So she buys cement. So when I click approve, document consists item 006 must generate e-invoice. Okay, does not allow consolidated invoice. So I need to get their TIN lah. So this one, if I put the one with TIN, okay, and then only I can approve. Okay. How the treatment, the running invoice number expired. Okay, so once expired, you cannot use this document again lah. Okay, you need to use a new document number. Okay, but if because this expired document you cannot use again, you are not allowed to edit expired or voided document. Okay, but we also advise not to delete this document lah, so that this document you still can see the records. So it is advisable you to use a new running number. Okay. Can customer request e-invoice after done submit for consolidated invoice? Yes, can. Okay, so this one I will explain more in the consolidated part. Okay, how about I sell at e-commerce platform and B2B? I still think allow consolidated. I'm not the mandatory to issue invoice. Yes, you can tick the allow because you're not in that industry, can. So you still can tick allow to consolidate. Okay, because for the e-commerce, there is another setting that you need to do. Okay, later on at the sub bill, I will show you that thing. Okay, so okay, so I show you just now how to cancel, which is means to void lah. Okay, and then this version, after you cancel, means after you void, you cannot unvoid anymore. Okay, let's say this document kan, I sudah voided. So let's dia sudah tak boleh edit, and then dia sudah tak ada that unvoid function. Once voided is voided. Okay, you need to create a new invoice number. Okay. And then after cancel after 72 hours, you need to do CN lah. Okay. And then backdated, okay, you can use tick that one. It will auto submit for 2 days date. Okay. And then you also cannot generate invoice for future date. Okay. What you mean cannot generate for future date? If you want to submit for e-invoice, you cannot do for future. Let's see, this customer. I want to submit for tomorrow. Okay. Standard 12th June. We need for the status first. Okay. So like I said just now, for validated invoice, you cannot edit the main details, but other additional details you can edit lah. Okay. And then validated invoice, you also cannot delete it. Okay. Let's say this validated invoice. You are not allowed to delete e-invoice document. Okay. So this one, voila, I check it for the submission first. Okay. So next one is disbursement or reimbursement. Okay. So if your company have a disbursement or reimbursement, so you need to check for reimbursement, we'll use the 0 to 7. Okay. For disbursement, we'll use the, I need to check the classification code. Okay, so let me show you the sample. Let's say you are a landlord property lah. Okay, so you have sewakan beberapa buah kedai. Okay, so that your tenant pay you the rental and the utilities lah every month. Okay, so you as a company, you need to issue e-invoice for them. Okay, so when you issue e-invoice for rental, you can put the classification code under others. Okay, but for utilities, you need to put under reimbursement lah. Okay, you need to check either the utility is on your tenant name or on your name. Okay, if you're on your name, no need, but if on your customer name, you need to put reimbursement. Okay, so this one, let's say I want to do for reimbursement. Say this customer, she pay for rental, and then she pay for utility bills. Okay, utility bills 20. So this one, rental is under others, utility bills is under reimbursement. Okay, So this is how you want to issue the e-invoice for your tenant. Okay. Okay, so I think, okay, this document is also valid. Okay, so because this one is issued on today's date, okay, but the document is on a future date, okay. Before this, the AutoCount is not allowed to do this one lah, okay. But this one I need to check again, okay. Is it a new features in AutoCount or is it a bug, okay? Because in the MyInvoice portal, if you can see, if you want to do submission, you only can choose 3 days. 2 days and backdated 3 days. Okay, on the future you cannot submit lah. Okay, but this one, because of the document is submission is today's date, so it allow for the future date. Okay, but this one I need to confirm again. Okay. Okay. So another sample for the reimbursement. Okay, let's say I am the event planner, okay? And then this perniagaan Adiba, she want to do a annual dinner lah, okay? But she don't have time to book the hotel or book the catering, okay? So all the hotel and the catering is built on my name, okay? So I need to give e-invoice for perniagaan Adiba to prove my income, okay? So for my income is the event planning fees lah, okay? But for the hotel rental, I need to put under reimbursement, okay? Because it's not fall under my income. It is for the perniagaan Adiba income. Okay, so for this one, same also, you just, I need to issue invoice for perniagaan Adiba, standard e-invoice, and then for the event planning fees, is under 022. And then another one is for the hotel rental, is under 027. Okay, so this is the sample lah. Okay. Okay, rental, this landlord is individual, does it issue reimburse to the tenant? Okay, so for the rental, actually I have another sample on the self-bill part. Okay, you need to check if your owner is an individual, no conduct any business. Okay, she just do rental lah, the building. Okay, for this individual owner, you as a company, you need to self-bill this owner. Okay, the sample that I showed just now, which is your owner is a company. So for company, you don't need to issue self-bill, but this company need to issue e-invoice to your company. Okay, so later on at the self-bill part, I will show you the sample how you want to issue self-bill for the rental owner, which is individual.